You ever look at a service van and wonder if the guy inside could become a millionaire without investors, without a fancy title, and without a safety net? In 2021, Evan Cole was that guy, parked behind a strip mall at 9:47 p.m., hands shaking over a voicemail from a lawyer. He'd started an HVAC company with a used ladder rack, a set of gauges older than him, and $300 left after rent. In this video I'll break down the exact decisions that took Evan from hourly tech to a seven-figure net worth owner, and the one contract clause that nearly put the whole shop under. Here's the part most people miss: blue-collar businesses don't die from no demand. They die from bad cash flow, sloppy pricing, and signing things they don't understand. Evan had a crew of 6 depending on him, a line of credit maxed, and payroll due every Friday whether customers paid or not. So how did he survive the spiral, and then scale anyway? Setup. Evan grew up in northern Ohio, but the story starts later, after a layoff in 2017. He took a helper job at a small HVAC outfit, learned fast, and got hooked on the numbers. On the truck he kept a notebook: drive time, parts cost, billable hours, call results. The owner told him, just fix the unit. Evan kept asking, what did we actually make? When he launched Cole Comfort in 2019, he wasn't chasing glory. He wanted control. He bought a beat-up Ford E250 for $2,800, printed magnets for the doors, and did evenings and weekends, no heat calls, capacitor swaps, water heater replacements. His pricing was simple: $89 diagnostic, then time and materials. It felt fair. It was also the first landmine. Early wins. The first month he invoiced $4,260. The second month, $9,100. What changed? Not skill, systems. He asked every satisfied customer for a Google review before he left the driveway. He texted a link, made it easy, and within 90 days he had 52 reviews. That single move pushed him into the local map pack, and calls started coming from people he'd never met. He built a one-page website on a Sunday, bought a call tracking number for $18 a month, and started recording which jobs came from which neighborhoods. The data showed something awkward: his $89 diagnostic barely covered fuel and time when calls were 25 minutes apart. So he raised it to $129 and added a same-day priority option. Oddly, complaints dropped, because the serious customers self-selected. He also learned to sell without feeling slimy. Instead of "do you want a membership," he framed maintenance as risk management, 2 tune-ups, priority service, and waived diagnostic fees. By year end, he had 180 maintenance plans at $19 a month. That recurring revenue wasn't huge, but it smoothed winter to spring cash flow. And it made the business feel real. Then Evan did what most tradespeople do when things start working: he hired too fast. He brought on a buddy, Kyle, as a partner to run installs. Kyle had skills, a big mouth, and no respect for paperwork. Evan gave him access to the company card and promised him 20% of profit once we're stable. No operating agreement. No buy-sell terms. Just a handshake. What could go wrong? Major failure. In summer 2021, a property manager offered Evan a commercial maintenance contract, 14 rooftops across 3 retail centers. It sounded like a graduation into real business. Evan bid low to win, $1,250 per month, thinking he'd make it up in repairs. Kyle insisted, "We'll crush it." Evan signed the vendor agreement without reading 2 pages of fine print. That word would cost him. The first heat wave hit and 6 units failed in 48 hours. Tenant screamed, the manager demanded 24/7 response, and parts were backordered. Evan's techs worked 18-hour days. Overtime exploded. Kyle started solving problems by buying whatever was available at retail prices. Meanwhile, the contract required Evan to cover consequential damages from downtime, lost business claims from tenants. Evan didn't even know that was on the table. 3 weeks later, he got served. One tenant claimed $78,000 in losses. The property manager froze payments pending investigation. Evan's bank account went negative, and the line of credit got pulled because his receivables were now uncertain. Payroll was 36 hours away. Evan considered shutting the doors that night. And Kyle? Kyle vanished for 2 days, then came back with a new truck and a story about a family loan. Evan later discovered Kyle had been running side jobs using company refrigerant and billing customers through his cousin's LLC. Betrayal hurts, but in business it also bleeds cash. Evan fired him, and Kyle threatened to tell everyone Evan was unethical. That was the lowest point. Turning point. Evan didn't get saved by a miracle. He got saved by a boring decision. He called a local construction attorney and paid $1,500 he didn't have for a contract review and a response letter. The lawyer negotiated a settlement cap and got the consequential damages clause narrowed going forward. Evan still had to pay, but it stopped the bleeding. Then the lawyer asked one question that changed everything: do you know your gross margin by job type? Evan didn't. So he rebuilt the company like an operator. First, he set target margins: 55% gross on service, 40% on replacements, 30% minimum on commercial. If a bid couldn't hit that, he walked. Second, he stopped time and materials for most calls. He moved to flat rate pricing with a minimum ticket of $329. Customers didn't love it at first. Evan loved it when the bank balance stopped free falling. Third, he fixed cash flow with 2 accounts and one rule: every deposit hit tax and reserves first. For installs, he required 50% upfront, 40% at start, 10% at commissioning. For commercial, net your 15, not net 60, and late fees in writing. He also built a weekly job costing sheet, hours versus estimate, parts versus budget, and notes on what went wrong. He finally had a scoreboard. Scale UP. In 2022, Evan made his first key hire, not a tech, a dispatcher. A $48,000 salary felt insane. But the dispatcher answered every call, booked next available slots, and sold maintenance plans using a script. Evan went from owner technician to owner sales. He visited 5 neighborhoods a week, knocked on doors after completing a job, and offered a same-street discount if neighbors booked a tune-up. Is that glamorous? No. Is it controllable? Yes. By late 2023, Cole Comfort ran 3 trucks and 1 install crew. Revenue hit $1.9 million with about 14% net profit. Evan didn't buy toys. He bought time, a service manager, and a CRM that tracked follow-ups, estimates, and overdue invoices. Every Monday they reviewed 3 numbers: booked jobs, average ticket, and cash collected. If cash collected was behind, nothing else mattered. In 2024, he went back to commercial, but on his terms. He refused all risk clauses, insisted on change orders for after-hours work, and priced emergency response like a premium product. He also diversified: no client over 12% of revenue. Because the fastest way to die is letting one customer own your calendar. The result: 2025 closed at $4.6 million in revenue. Evan's take-home was roughly $520,000, plus a growing reserve account and a small warehouse he could sell tomorrow. That's how a tech becomes a millionaire in the trades, not by being the best with tools, but by being ruthless with math. Profit is a plan, not a surprise. Lessons. Let's turn this into moves you can use. And ask yourself, if your biggest customer stopped paying for 60 days, would you still make payroll? Takeaway number 1, price for margin, not for ego. Set a floor gross margin by job type, and walk away below it. Takeaway number 2, collect money like it's part of the job. Deposits, milestones, and written terms beat hope. Takeaway number 3, hire to remove bottlenecks. A dispatcher or admin can unlock more revenue than another tech. Takeaway number 4, contracts are weapons. If you don't read them, you're volunteering as the target. Takeaway number 5, one client can ruin you. Cap concentration and build recurring maintenance plans. Evan also wrote a one-page scope sheet for every install, in writing, before the crew ever rolled out once, what's included, what's excluded, and what triggers a change order. Every tech had to photo the serial tag, the duct connection, and the final static pressure. It sounds obsessive, but it cut callbacks in half, and callbacks are unpaid labor. Actionable lesson on pricing: Evan's minimum ticket did 2 things, covered drive time and forced better scheduling. If you're doing $149 service calls, you're training your business to stay small. Actionable lesson on hiring: Evan used a 2-day paid ride-along for every applicant and a simple scorecard: punctual, clean work, customer communication. If they missed 2 items, he passed. Actionable lesson on systems: he reviewed AR every Thursday, called on anything over 10 days, and stopped starting new commercial work for accounts past due. Harsh? Maybe. But it kept the lights on. One more question: would you rather be liked or be paid? Evan learned that confidence in pricing is leadership, not arrogance. Cheap work is the most expensive work. If you want more breakdowns like this, real numbers, real mistakes, real comebacks, hit like and subscribe on Work Boots to Wealth. And drop a comment with your trade and the one problem you're solving this year. Because the next millionaire in the trades might be the one who finally builds a system, not just a hustle. And about that voicemail from the lawyer? Evan didn't win the lawsuit. He survived it, learned from it, and built guardrails so it could never happen again. That's the difference between a shop that flashes and a company that lasts.